guys? Happy Thursday night. I just got back from Jackie Boy's basketball game. I actually left with a couple minutes to go to get back to do our live. We are down to 1 week. We are 1 week together. That's it. Then my Wednesday night, my January lives are over. So I hope it's been as much fun for you as it has been for me. I really have enjoyed having something to look forward to every night, as well as the commitment to say I'm going to do something and then I'm going to do it. The benefit for me has been the ability to help you guys, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. I want to welcome everybody. Chris, welcome aboard. Jimbo, welcome aboard. I also want to thank Jimbo for signing up for Business Finishing School. You are going to love it, my friend. I know Jimbo was going to come in September, but he decided to move it up for our February event. Dude, you're going to love it. I told you last night I would never let you down, and I won't let you down. You'll love it. And we'll get that business, that already successful business, cranked up, and we'll get it to the next level. So I'm excited to see you, my friend. Dan, welcome aboard. Tom Macy, welcome aboard, my man. Good to see you. Alan, welcome aboard. Blake Duncan, how are you? My main man, Rico. Bradley, welcome aboard. Sauce Lopez, good to see you too, my man. Ken, good to see you. Jeremy Clay says, let's go, baby. My co-worker and friend, Kendra, joined. Derek Godwin, thank you for buying your ticket last night. That's awesome. Megan, great to see you as well. Megan's giving a shout out to Jimbo. It was awesome of you, Jimbo. I can't wait to see you. Listen, I want to talk to you about something that I see happening all around me all the time. It is this lack of preparation that exists in your financial situation. And I'm going to tell you a story that I was just on the phone with a friend of mine who's selling his business, his publicly traded business, in which for the last 3 months, they've been going through an audit with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, so that they can clear the purchase of his business. The buyer is totally ready to rock and roll. The buyer wants to do the deal. The seller wants to do the deal. Everything's moving along beautifully. The SEC audit is happening. All the numbers have been negotiated, and guess what happens? Anybody want to comment on what the problem is here? Anybody want to jump in and tell me where I'm going with this story? What has happened in the last, I don't even know, 30 days, whatever the bullshit it is? Take a guess. It's the government shutdown. And when the government shut down, guess what one of the departments is that gets shut down? Anybody? 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 Good job, JR. You're exactly right. Good job, Casey Dyer. You're exactly right. But which department of the government, along with many others, gets shut down? The SEC gets shut down. Roughly 97% of the SEC employees are not working during this government shutdown. So guess what happens in the middle of an SEC audit to sell your publicly traded company to a willing buyer as a willing seller? The deal stops. Breaks. Freaks people out, man. Maybe it gets a buyer with cold feet. Maybe the seller needs to move the deal along for whatever other reasons. Maybe the seller has already begun to allocate the capital from the sale, and all of a sudden something out of the blue pops in, like a government shutdown, which jacks up your world. Now, what if you're a government employee? I actually had somebody reach out to me on social a week or two ago after he read You Need More Money, and he said, I thought I had the most secure job on the planet. I worked for the government. And now, guess what? I can't get a paycheck. Stay with me, y'all. My son Juicy wants to jump in. Juicer. Let's bring the juicer in on this one real quick. The juicer always has good stuff to talk about. Juicy, we're waiting on you, my man. I'm bringing in the juicer. By the way, on Instagram, if you want to join in tonight, go ahead and jump in. I'm still waiting for the juicer to jump in. But on Instagram, if you want to jump in, I would love to take your question. All I need from you is what is the topic? The juicer's 13, so he doesn't have to tell me what the topic is. And by the way, he's my son, and I know him pretty well. He and his mother, Rocky, are probably just leaving the game right now. Let's get back to the message for tonight. How do you know, juicer, request permission again. How do you know when two planes are going to hit skyscrapers, or China is going to come in and decide to get into your business or your industry or market share? How do you know that you're not going to get a pink slip? I love my sister. She got a pink slip from her job this week after 12 years. Now, she got an incredible severance. But what I'm telling you is so many of us get lazy when it comes to our plan B and our plan C. And I'm not saying that you actually need a robust plan A, rather a plan B or a plan C. But what you do need is a deeper level of commitment to your plan A. What is the goose that lays your golden egg? Whether it is your business or it is your career path, how deep are you in the scale of 0% commitment to 110% commitment? I just can't stress this enough. I busted my ass for a decade, 6 days a week, every Saturday in my office, till 10, 11 o'clock at night for a decade, terrified that I wasn't going to be able to do the one thing that every entrepreneur must be responsible for. And that is keeping the doors open to fight another day. That's a concept that was taught to me by my friend Dave Meltzer. If anyone knows Dave Meltzer, if you don't, you should follow him. Incredible guy on just overall goodness along with capitalism. He's a killer dude, Dave Meltzer. Give me a raise a hand if you know who Dave Meltzer is. He's awesome. You should know who he is. Follow him, particularly on Instagram. He puts out a ton of content. But Dave Meltzer was on my podcast, and we were talking about this. And he was saying the entrepreneur's job is to make sure that the doors will be open tomorrow. That's the initial element of the entrepreneur responsibility. Will you keep the doors open for tomorrow? That's today's job. Stay open, generate enough cash to stay open for tomorrow. And for some of you, I say it with love in my heart, you think that that is far easier than it is. It's nasty to get that business off the ground like I did from a dumpy one-bedroom apartment into what our business is today. I didn't build the business. My team built the business. Kendra, who's on the stream right now, helped us build the business. And along the way, guess what? Kendra protected herself from two planes hitting skyscrapers, or China getting into it, or the SEC shutting down because being furloughed because the government shut down. I cannot stress to you enough the importance of getting scared shitless for a long period of time so that you can stack and rack cash and you can put yourself in what I call accumulation mode. Now, look, I talk about it at length in the book. There are 3 phases to wealth. The first phase is broke. If you've read my book, you know what I'm talking about. I'm one of the only guys who tells you how much money you need to not be broke. How much is it? 50 grand liquid cash in your reserve account, not your operating account, in your reserve account. 50 G's saved up, liquid, ready to go. That is the only time that you can consider yourself out of broke. So ask yourself, do you have 50 big ones stacked and racked, put aside in what I call the reserve account? Then and only then can you consider yourself not broke. By the way, of the 3 phases of wealth that I talk about in You Need More Money, and by the way, if you haven't bought this book, I don't know what else to say to you. You're insane. I had someone reach out to me on social. He bought the book last night. He got through all 8 chapters, and I'm not exactly sure how much of a raise he got, but he got, I think, over a $10,000 raise just today. Hey, were you coming in? All right, then come on in, pop in. I think just today he read the book and went into his boss, did his annual report, showed the value in his boss. I think gave him over a $10,000 raise, and he was making 60 or 70 grand. So he got a $10,000 raise, by spending 15 bucks and bought this book last night? Thumbs up. Hey, how did you not see it when I let you in? Could you not connect or what?
It was like the Wi-Fi or something.
Team, this is my youngest son, the Juicer. How you doing, kid?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. What do you want to talk about? We're talking. Once you have nothing to talk about for once in your life, you don't have anything to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I'll think of something.
Jeremy Clay says the juice is loose. Joe says Dave is a great mentor. Awesome, Joe. Glad you know him. He rocks. Judge, welcome aboard. Always good to see you. So the 3 phases of wealth. By the way, follow this guy, Julian_Manero. He loves new followers. What are you up to now?
I don't know. You'll have to go check the Instagram account to find out.
All right. Where's Jack?
He just got home.
JR says he wants to help you get your followers up.
That's funny.
All right. There you go. There we go. Rico says he needs you to post more on Instagram.
Well, I don't want to post pictures that are like a year old.
Quaid Murphy says.
What's going on now?
Quaid Murphy says juicer. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand right there. The message I'm trying to get across to you is the importance of staying diligent, staying focused, staying scared about what might happen, because we never know what might happen. The whole story of You Need More Money is about my brother-in-law, John, my wife's only brother, who died very early on. The juicer's uncle, Scooby, died at 46 years old. He went to the doctor to get a shot and found out that he was diagnosed with cancer that same day. Died almost 1 year to the day. So I just want you guys to wake up and realize that the economic bliss that we are in will not last forever. And therefore, it is absolutely Shangri-La right now. It is the time to stack and rack your cash and be prepared. Be ready for what's coming. You head now?
Yeah.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Continue.
All right. So that's my takeaway for tonight. I'm going to continue with the 3 phases of wealth. The first is broke. Get yourself up to 50 G's. The second phase, by the way, that's the easiest phase to get out of. From the bottom to 50 grand, it's not as hard as you think it is. You just got to follow the steps in the book. The first step you got to do is visualize your future. The second step is you got to get yourself in the right platform. You got to skill up. You got to get great. You got to be a top earner. How do you become a top earner? You figure out who the top earner is, and you tuck in under that male or female, and you learn all the habits and skill sets that they're doing until you become the top earner. None of it says you have to be in business for yourself. In fact, I think being business for yourself is often much harder than most people. Okay? Judge Graham wants to know what dollar number do I think that I consider rich? I am very clear about this in the book, You Need More Money. I do not have the audacity to tell somebody what rich is. It is not my place on this planet to tell somebody what rich is. Rich is when you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do, and you don't have the worries of the next paycheck. That to me is rich. But in general, I would say $5 million producing a 5% rate of return, which is not a difficult rate of return to get, $250,000 should be an attainable goal for most people. And when you put it into perspective like that, most people are grossly behind, not even close to that, okay? So in fact, I got a message from someone on social today that was telling me after he read You Need More Money that he had $15,000 saved up and he had very little debt, if no debt at all. And he, for a period of time, was feeling great about himself. And after reading the book, he said, man, I really got to get after it. I'm behind. I'm like, dude, I know that. The money's moved. I mean, shit, just think about it. Just think of the cost of everything. Everything is more expensive, but yet we are still chasing these old numbers like 100 grand means anything, right? And I've told you guys this before. When I graduated college in 1991, to be in the top 1% of earners, you needed to make $100,000. Today, that number is $384,000 to be in the top 1%. I'll go a step further with you. This is not in the book. The publisher just on a side note, if anybody wants to talk about writing a book, I'm happy to do an episode, a stream this week about it. It's a really convoluted process, especially when you're with a major publisher like Penguin. But I ended up writing 75,000 words for You Need More Money, and that book edited went down to 51,000 words. So what happened to the 24,000 words that I wrote, right? They got axed. They got put on the cutting floor. Most of that was really extensive data that I had researched to prove my point. And one of the points in that is I took it a step further, because if you really want to know, 384,000 is what it takes to be the top 1% in America as an average. But if you go deeper and you actually look at what is the top 1% state by state by state, the richest country in the United States as far as highest earners is the state of Connecticut. And therefore, to be in the top 1% of earners in Connecticut, take a guess how much you need to make. I'll throw that out to the group tonight. How much do you think you need to make to be in the top 1% of earners in basically the highest earning state per capita? I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna ask the gang to guess. I think Casey just said, I saw it pass by. He said, how long does it take to get $50,000 stacked and racked? I mean, dude, that depends on your platform, but 50,000 isn't hard to do, guys. Really, it's not hard to do. I mean, hell, if you're making, let's just say you're making 75 grand a year, get deeper committed to the position, tuck in the highest earner in the platform that you're in, get yourself up to 125,000. 125,000, you'll pay 25 grand in taxes, so you're left on 125. 125. You're left with about 90 G's. 90 G's divided by 12 months is, I'll just make math easy and call it $7,500 a month. If you stacked and racked $3,500 of the $7,500 a month, if you lived on 4,000 and you saved 3,500, because you should live on 4,000. That's what you were living on at 75 grand. So you crank your income up, you stack and rack. 1 year later, you got your 50 G's. You're totally out of broke. You're in a great shot. Okay, we got some good stuff coming in for question or from commentary. Judge says 3 mil. My man Ryan Grady, good to see you, says 1.2 million. That's very close. 600K, 400K, a million, 500. Here's the deal: 1.4 million in personal annual income puts you in the top 1% of earners in Connecticut. So I just want to give you perspective, guys, of what's going on out there. The money has moved. We are chasing old money numbers. We are chasing income numbers that are no longer relevant, right? You got to ask yourself, what's going on, man? What's happening? What's happening is everything is getting more expensive. The opportunities have never been greater for people to make more money, but yet because of our mindsets and the way we've been trained and the way we've been taught and the way we've been educated and the way our parents told us and all that stuff that we know about, we haven't forced ourselves to understand what the new math looks like. I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest things in this book is I lay out the argument of what it takes. Back to the point tonight. Back to the point. Second phase of wealth, accumulation mode. This is stack and rack mode. This is when the proof becomes in the pudding, when you're actually able to get yourself ahead financially. The first thing you got to do is get yourself out of broke. That's 50 G's. The second thing is you've got to move this gap. How do you get in accumulation mode? What do? You know what you do? You start telling people you're in accumulation mode. And most of your buddies are going to be like, dude, let's go out. I had a couple that my wife and I used to go out to dinner with all the time. I didn't have a pot to piss in, and we'd be going out to this fancy steakhouse, dropping $400 on steak every couple weekends, right? And finally I said, you know what? I said, we're not going anymore to Bob's Chop House. And everybody's like, well, what are you talking about? How come we're not going to Bob's Chop House? I said, we're in accumulation mode. My wife's like, what's accumulation mode? I said, it's called stack and rack mode, baby. It's your security blanket. It's when we are getting smart about where we're blowing our money and we're getting specific about how much money we're going to stack and rack. And she was like, I'm down with that. And And then I called my buddy and I said, hey, we're not going to dinner with you next weekend to Bob's Chop House. He's like, why not? I go, I'm in accumulation mode. He's like, what the hell's accumulation mode? I go, dude, I'm stacking and racking cash. I'm no longer playing that game of false positive, of thinking that I'm doing better than I really am. Just because I might be able to afford a $400 steak dinner, like that I have it on the credit card, or it doesn't make my checking account overdrawn. It was like that. I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I'll go to the taco place with you and we'll have tacos with you if you want, but I ain't going to Bob's anymore. No more. I'm in stack and rack mode and accumulation mode. I used to tell it to everybody, and everybody's like, dude, I thought you were an entrepreneur, man. Aren't you like killing it? I'm like, I am, but I'm in stack and rack mode. That was bullshit too. And then you know what my buddy said after we had tacos that night? He pulled me aside. He's like, dude, I'm so glad we didn't go to Bob's Chop House. He's like, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to go there either. I'm like, my brother, we're in accumulation mode. Dude, you get in accumulation mode when you get to 50 G's and you start telling people you're in accumulation mode. And you take all the excess and you stack and rack it in your reserve account. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to go and get my book, You Need More Money. I lay out the whole thing in there, all right? Stack and rack the cashish. All right. Then the final piece is rich, right? And rich is when you have enough money to do whatever it is that you want to do without the worries of the next round of income. I have a client who drives a truck for 6 months of the year and surfs in Costa Rica for 6 months out of the year. In his mind, he's rich. And who am I to argue with that? Who am I to say that lifestyle that he considers rich is not the appropriate lifestyle? That's arrogant and egotistical of me to tell someone that their interpretation of rich is inaccurate. But as a general rule, it's 50 G's liquid cash to get out of broke, 50,000 to 5 million is accumulation mode, and 5 million at a 5% rate of annual return is 250 G's of free cash flow. And I would tell you that is a decent roadmap. Most people can live on $250,000 a year. And I would chat without hitting the principle of it. You also have the principle if you want to. And I would challenge you that should be some of your goals. I don't know who tells you those goals. No one ever told me those goals. Those are just the real life goals that I hit. That's just the way it plays out. I would tell you to do the same thing and follow that. Okay. Someone asked, is You Need More Money on Audible? Yes, it is. The publisher paid me to read this book, and it is available on Audible. I read the book. This book's available on Amazon. So I just want to talk to you tonight about the 3 phases of wealth: broke, accumulation, and rich. And I want to wake your ass up to the fact that you never know when 2 planes are going to hit skyscrapers. You never know when China's going to come in and suck your market share. You never know when regulation is going to change. And you also never know when you're getting ready to sell your publicly traded company and everything is at the last hour, and all of a sudden the government shuts down and the SEC can no longer complete the audit, which is a requirement to sell the company. You just don't know where it's coming from. So get your ass prepared for it, all right? All right, let's turn to some questions here, and let's talk about what it is that you guys want to talk about tonight. Old school gear collector, is it worthwhile to envision how much you want to earn a year as a short-term goal while saving and building up wealth? Of course. I mean, the visualization process is how everything starts. Everything starts with the visualization process, the self-actualization. On that note, I was at a conference today on the predictive index test that I offered last night. For those of you who bought the Business Finishing School, bfssummit.com. It's the event that my business partner and I, Rick Sapio, are putting on in February. And for those of you who bought it last night, I included a predictive index, a personality test with your ticket. And if you just follow those instructions from last night, I'll make sure that you get that. But I'm telling you, I spent 8 hours learning more about it. I've been using it for the last 3-4 years in my company. And we went and did an offsite with the company today to learn deep dives about it. And I'm telling you, if you haven't taken a personality test, I don't know what the hell you're doing. how do you know who you are if you don't test out? So if you're in business, I'm going to give you the other one, another free test that we have at Business Finishing School. Go to getmybsi.com. Getmybsi.com stands for Business Success Index. Getmybsi.com. It's 100% free. Test out. Go take the damn test and see how good you are to leader. It's 10 questions. Take you 3 minutes. All right. So that's what I got for you guys. Let's see. JR says, a lot of financial experts discuss opportunity costs of holding that much cash beyond an emergency fund or short-term saving goals. What would you say to those experts? I would tell you that you need scratch. Okay? You need scratch. And that scratch at a bare minimum is, I guess, 6 months worth of your savings. But dude, you need hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands sitting idle, ready and waiting for the next economic downturn so that you have the ability to capitalize on some stuff. I get it that there's an opportunity cost, but there's also potentially a far greater opportunity cost if you don't have cash to pull the trigger in an economic downturn. All right. Brad Dumas says the Myers-Briggs, not bad. I like the DISC test. I like the predictive index test. I like all of those even a little bit better than the Myers-Briggs. They're certainly simpler. The predictive index test that we take at my company, it's about 7 minutes to take the test. You're basically picking words. And the company says it's 85% accurate. At my 87% accurate, we think it's 95% accurate at my company. If your predictive index does not set up well, you don't get hired at my company. It is absolutely vital. We rely very heavily on the results of the predictive index, okay? Young Hustler Samuel says, is following your passion a lie? If it's not a good platform and it doesn't make money, then it seems like a lie. I can tell you point blank that my financial success has absolutely nothing to do with following my passion. None of it. It had me having the balls to be a man and take care of my wife and my 3 children to the greatest ability of my potential. And for many years, my passion was on hold, right? My passion is to teach. I always knew that. I got away from it for a long time when I realized how much teachers make. But my passion in life is to teach, but that don't pay the bills. So I don't believe for 1 second that people should be advised to chase their passion. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know what you need to chase? Your money, your security. Let me tell you something about marriage too, by the way. Your spouse feels a hell of a lot better when he or she is secure. When there's enough cash to not worry about the next paycheck or the roof over their head or food in the fridge or whether the car is going to get fuel in it, everything gets better. So quit chasing your passion and start chasing your cash, all right? It's a huge differentiator, and I think that passion game is total bullshit. When you're trying to get going, you need to chase your money and get yourself financially secure and then go ahead and chase some passion, all right? All right, guys. I appreciate you. I care about everybody. One last thing. BFSsummit.com. BFSsummit.com. We've removed the MAT 400 code. The code I have for you is MAT, all caps, MATT 100. That's all I got for you. We sold out of the $5.99 ticket price. We've sold out of the $6.99 ticket price. All I have left for you are $7.99 tickets with a MAT code, capital M, capital A, capital T, 100. And you can come and join me, Tim Story, Elena Cardone, Rand Stagen, Dr. Ivan Meisner, and many more at our BFS Summit event in Dallas, February 22, 23, and 24. Take care, everybody. I'll see y'all down the road tomorrow night.